or once he leaves the top lane, and you stop that push from happening and you defend your tower, you basically extend the lane swap and you don't allow SK to do what they're doing now, where they get a fast bottom lane tower, then a dragon, then they swap top lane, because again, they play Graves. He's one of the best AD carries on just one BF sword. And you won't be able to duel him, and that's why he can keep pushing down all these lanes.
Oh, Jankos is desperately trying to get onto this Bramble back, but SK Gaming not letting it go uncontested. Jankos didn't really have the support. He's decided not to run the risk. We did see Enrated and Svenskeren hanging around. Fisher, while you're right, the team decision and the reaction from ROCCAT hasn't been great. I want to give some praise to Fox. Yesterday, he 1v1'd Febivin. Yes, it was a fairly favorable matchup with that LeBlanc into Ezreal. Today, he basically 1v1 Nukeduck. ROCCAT still with the fan vote. It is close, though. 52% to 48%. And SK get, what was it, about 50% of that tower HP?
Yeah.
Forcing middle. So, just like dominoes. Bottom, top, middle. SK...
Always the same.
Traditional, heavy, aggressive laning.
Yeah, always pushing these lanes one by one. You kill them, and when you play Twisted Fate, if you start losing your auto turrets, the range where you can ulti suddenly becomes a lot smaller. Because if you're forced to sit back in your tier 2 towers, you won't be able to reach further than probably the river. And that means suddenly if someone is having a fight in, let's say, the top lane, it's going to be tough for you to get up there in time and join in, because you have a lot less room to work with. You basically get pushed into a corner when you play against SK and they get these outer turrets fast. And suddenly your minimap just shrinks. It becomes so much smaller and you have only 2 towers to wait for. You can maybe, if you're lucky, get 1 jungle camp, but you might not even be able to get it if SK is just keeping the pressure on you all the time. So you suddenly don't really have a lot of room to make plays on, where SK won't be able to react in time. Even against the Twisted Fate ulti, SK should be able to move from the likes of a mid lane to the top lane in time to turn it around.
Well, we'll find out if SK can make that work. Destiny is available for Nukeduck. Got himself a needlessly large rod, as well as the makings of that Morellonomicon, so he's going to have a lot more burst than the previous ultimate usage. But they need to find a lane, they need to find a target that they can jump onto. Freddy doesn't have a lot of MR, despite having 1,600 HP, and look at the setup.
Praise to Freddy here. SK Gaming are playing around where Forgiven is on the map. He's now on the bottom side, which means all the wards gets invested on the bottom side, because that's where you're strongest, that's where you can make the plays. So Freddy, knowing that there's 0 wards on the top side of the map, and he hasn't seen anyone from ROCCAT in a while, does not decide to keep pushing out. Instead, he realizes there's a high chance of multiple guys being there to kill him, so he goes back to the Crooks, he waits for the wave to come back to him, and he now stays alive. Yesterday against Fnatic, it was him who kept pushing up lanes and got killed by Raynova a few times because he did it. Now, changing it up, Freddy is no longer greedy.
Well, not today.
Well, not today.
On CS with his opponents. And we do see SK with all of that control in the bottom lane. And the early advantage, going to secure their second dragon before 14.5 minutes. So Fisher, you touched on how SK play around Forgiven. They did the same thing yesterday as well. Once they got those towers, Forgiven was pushing down and SK were investing their vision, was investing their resources. Hey, it works. When you got a guy
it's almost like it's the strategy.
Yeah, definitely works out in their favor.
It is the reason they're the #1 team in Europe at the moment after beating Fnatic yesterday. Because they do it so well, and it's tough for the other teams to respond, because if you're not strong enough to fight anyway, how are you going to stop this push, and how are you going to stop SK from getting down all these wards that they will place on whatever side Forgiven is at, and then suddenly he's safe. And now Freddy, Sunfire came first.
Yeah, touch on some of the other items. Warlight's got that Trinity Force completed, Morellonomicon, as well as Rod of Ages for Nukeduck and Overpower. Forgiven working towards
That's how you farm,
edge.
by the way. You ulti the wave, and then you buckshot, and that's it. Now you're done.
I wonder if that means we're not going to see anything happening for the next few minutes in SK's playbook.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Trev.
Don't know what gives it away, though.
No, I'm not sure.
Let's touch on the Sunfire Cape. We see Nas going different builds relatively often. No real AP threat in his lane, so no Hex Trinket today. But I know we have split feelings sometimes when it comes to Sunfire versus Randuin's.
So it very much depends on what you want to do. If you want to just sit in a lane and split push, Sunfire is fine because it gives you that extra wave clear or fast pushing ability. But if you want a team fight, then Randuin's is in nearly every case going to be better for you. But in this situation, Freddy is looking to split push against this Maokai, who won't be able to do too much. Sven, on the other hand, he's not looking to split push, he's looking to kill someone in the bottom lane, and Yanka's waiting as well.
Well, nobody's engaged yet, but I love the idea of a Rengar being sped up by a tidal wave and the potential of Orianna Dissonance in there, there's a lot of enablers to get Svenskeren onto a target quickly, and I particularly like the synergy with that Nami. Get knocked up by the tower, get knocked up by the bubble. SK can, work together. They can really lock down somebody for an extended period of time.
This was a pretty good play by ROCCAT, though. They had Nukeduck, first of all, show himself, or will move out of the mid lane at first and down towards the bottom side of the map, so there was the risk of him ganking down to the bottom lane. And then they sent 3 guys down to push the towers, so there was a high chance of 4 members being there instantly. And SK knew, okay, we can't do anything, we can't fight, we need to just back away and let them take this tower, because we're not in a position to respond in a 4-on-4. Obviously, with the 2 teleports ready as well, it could have been a 5 versus 4. So they simply just made a play around the ulti from Nukeduck. He still has that mid lane tower being alive, so he can stay around the mid lane for himself. And that was just a good play to make it 2-on-2 in terms of towers, and very even in gold as well.
Well, Nukeduck does get his hands on that blue buff after SK tried to contest. I'm glad you actually say ROCCAT did well, because considering how the lane swap didn't work in their favor and just how much pressure Nukeduck was under, the team has evened out the goal difference. They've evened out the tower score. They do have a kill on their board, and SK is still unable to take that middle tower. Yes, they've not committed resources in a while, but a few minutes ago, SK did have 3 members trying to push the middle lane down. So all credit to ROCCAT for slowing this game down and clawing back the goal deficit they've given up.
It's been really good for Nukeduck that despite him dying, he could get that large rod on the first back, allowing him to basically instantly wave clear with his wild cards on the wave and just defend it on his own. Now, he will go down at some point. Once SK go for the real push, they will take that tower. But he still managed to hold off on it for quite a while. Hook just missing on Svenskeren. But now SK got the last tower, and yes, they're even, or somewhat even in gold, but still the 2 dragons to 0, that's going to be the big problem.
Well, Freddy is in Mega Gnar. It's about to time out. Here comes support. Mini Gnar gets booted backwards as he hops over the wall, flashes past the jungle. And we do see ROCCAT collapse. What will it cost them? Kill on the board for Woolite. Destiny comes out from Nukeduck. SK
behind as well.
Will be happy for the trade. There is Overpower plus Nukeduck coming in. Bubble doesn't connect. Tidal Wave goes out. Gold cards onto Enrated. Here comes Woolite. That's a huge shockwave, but there's not a lot of damage to follow it up. ROCCAT with 2 quick kills, and they force SK away. It's a trade of 3 kills for 1 tower.
And ROCCAT now is going to push this mid lane with all 5 guys. That's going to be another tower. That was a nice play, honestly. Yes, they gave up that mid tower because they went 5 to get overpowered or get Freddy down, but then they knew we have the ulti from Twisted Fate, we have the teleport, we can chase onto the remaining guys from SK, kill them, and also get a tower and trade it at least. So here, this is a setup all planned. I mean, you know at that time, if you go 5 to the top lane, the enemy team can push mid, but this is just such a nice setup. Nobody gets caught really by the tidal wave. Nukeduck dances around it. You blow up and raid it first. Good shockwave, but just not enough damage here. You've already been caught out, and you're in a 4 versus 5.
And it was a defensive shockwave at the same time. Everybody in full retreat. To be fair, Woolite went from 100 to about 40% HP. Had collateral, had additional damage come down, maybe got a kill. So ROCCAT, they do trade 1 tower for 1 after the fight. However, they lost an additional tower a few moments before. 20 minutes on the clock. ROCCAT looking not too shabby, especially now that Nukeduck's got himself an Hourglass. So those sort of, dare I say it, Messiah plays are a possibility where you can just Destiny in and Hourglass out.
SK has already gone down to this dragon though. 3rd one for them if they manage to pick it up. This is a game where they have improved. They are investing more into pink wards and setting up for objectives beforehand. And if you come and face check, well, tough luck for you. You will get caught out by the likes of a Rengar. But for Svenskeren to get the right engage against a Twisted Fate and potential pink wards, that's going to be tough. And instead, we can't see ROCCAT just start.
Well, let's see what Nukeduck can do. Gold card catches Freddy's. Should go Mega Gnar shortly. Will it be enough? Dragon number 3 secured for SK. What is Freddy doing? He's tanking up 4. But again, it's the sacrificial Brit to secure a global objective. SK, can they defend their inner turrets?
What ROCCAT keeps doing is trading kills for objectives here now. Have to be careful. Svenskeren is going in.
Well, there's the kitty pounce. We just get Overpower melted. We do see the kickback as Svenskeren is knocked over the wall, but ROCCAT are split. They've lost 2 since taking Freddy down. Forgiven's getting run down from Woolite, and Forgiven still survives. Woolite's got no more mana. Forgiven so close to going down. but they defend the tower,
Yeah.
they get themselves 2 kills, and I can't get over how quickly Overpower went down.
And also, they got that dragon now. 3 for 0 in terms of dragons. He's going to have the 5th one very, very soon in this game. And SK Gaming, despite giving up a few kills here and there, have kept the goal lead. They've played their style, got these outer turrets down. Defending first, and ROCCAT is tanking the tower, and you just see the ball delivery system. Sven's going in, Overpower gets pulled back, he gets blown up. He's not tanking, he only has like a Rod of Ages at this point. And Jankos tries to make the play, goes down as well. So 2 quick kills now for SK. Defend the tower, as you mentioned, and more importantly, got that dragon, which just gains more and more value simply by getting closer to number 5.
Now, once you get that aspect of the dragon, SK already had strong team fights. You get that 12% AD and AP. Additional move speed, etc. is just going to allow them to run circles around ROCCAT. I love the engage. It's actually something that we saw once Rengos was sort of released. The invisible cat shockwave, lion shockwave, whatever you want to call Rengar. Worked out well.
SK not falling for this one.
ROCCAT with the risky Baron. Forgiven's nowhere to be seen. He's in the bottom lane, Deficio, but ROCCAT, how long will they stick on this objective?
I think they can stop it with 4. I mean, you're standing in the Baron pit against a shockwave. Death Cap is completed on the Orianna already, and we're gonna see a fight.
Well, let's see what happens. Freddy's been caught in shockwave. Down, Nuke Duck gets nuked. In the background, Freddy's dropped before he can go Mega Gnar. Overpower's looking for some targets, but he's been left alone. Big crit comes down from Woolite, but nobody else continues the fight. It's 2 members of ROCCAT down as SK look to chase ROCCAT away. SK were able to fend it off, but the fight's not over. Enrated, what can you do? Tidal Wave is available as he gets hit. We do see the attack dissonance dropping Vander. Attack comes out, collateral damage ruins Woolite's day. And SK Gaming trade 1 for 4. Forgiven's not done. Gets an auto attack out, and all of a sudden SK have got priority on Baron.
This is such a fed Orianna already with that Death Cap coming in at like 21 minutes for him. You are completely avoided that somewhat weak early to mid-game. Orianna stage, you've gone to late game already with the early kill. See what ROCCAT can do. Nuke Duck is here and Jankos has Smite ready. You want to try and steal it? He should be allowed to.
Freddy's trying to zone him away. 2000 HP on Baron. Sonic Wave comes in. Baron gets secured by Twisted Fate. Actually, that's a lie. It's Svenskeren that's killed. Forgiven grabs Baron. Nuke Duck's going to be held up for a second or 2 longer, but it's not going to be enough. SK, more kills and Baron, despite a valiant attempt by Jankos and Nuke Duck.
So what ROCCAT tried to do is a thing we have seen teams do against SK beforehand, where they don't like think about warding the Baron, and you can like sneak a 21, 22 minutes one. That's why they started, but this time Freddy was in the lane with his ward here, so he placed it down and he spotted, okay, they're doing the Baron. And then with 4 guys nearby, especially the Orianna, is going to be huge if you are caught in that shockwave near the Baron itself. Nuke Duck is, sadly for him, going to be the target, and he just gets popped instantly. There's so much damage here, and SK of course can keep fighting. Not enough damage left from the side of ROCCAT. Baron did a lot to them. They're going to end up dying for it. I kind of like the try because SK in the past has shown that they sometimes forget to ward the Baron. But as soon as they saw the ward being popped down by Freddy, they should have backed away from ROCCAT's side. Yeah,
I really agree with you, Deficio. For ROCCAT, they have a team composition that actually needs to make plays, and we touched on how we felt ROCCAT needed to play more aggressively than they have in the past. Maybe not the strongest of decisions, that Baron, but they did at least try to make it work, and unfortunately were punished. So ROCCAT now once again defending, playing from behind. It's a massive lead that they've got to climb through this time. 5,000 gold, and 3 members of SK with that Baron buff. SK, let's see if they can take more of those inner turrets.
Well, more dragons should be the main objective here for SK. Especially because once the next one is picked up, you got even the more damage to minions and monsters, which means the next Baron coming is going to go down even faster for the likes of SK. And they shouldn't give up the lead they have now. It's been fairly close. ROCCAT has made some good moves to really keep it even in gold. But then we saw this Baron. I just don't know why they didn't disengage from it. Once they saw the ward, they knew they were spotted. Yes, Forgiven was in the bottom lane. But still 4 guys this early is going to stop you.
Well, we'd have to listen into Mike Check and find out what the team's communication was like. 40 seconds before the next dragon spawns. Making use of that Baron buff, you can see SK getting some deep vision in ROCCAT's jungle. Making sure they are well informed for the next dragon attempt. And also sieging up that inner turret. There's a little bit of tankiness on Overpower, finding out that Frozen Heart completed. But ROCCAT need to really burst someone down quickly or get caught out in a 5v5.
Yeah, and it's fine that Opa has a lot of armor. He's going in and can they get it?
Well, Fox is caught out. Fox has flayed back. That's a fairly easy kill for ROCCAT. What more can they take? Destiny channeled. Gate followed.
Nice bubble.
Double bubble from Enrated. Throws ROCCAT up. That means Trouble is Enrated goes down as well. That's a double kill for Nukeduck. They turn to Spenskeren, but he shouldn't be able to get away. I lied as he flashes over the wall after leaping onto a Krug. ROCCAT get 3 quick kills. Potential on Dragon, but somebody needs to deal with Freddy.
They got it. Nukeduck can defend. Just go to this Dragon. Don't allow SK to pick it up. They shouldn't be able to. Perfect play by ROCCAT here. You engage onto the Fed target. You shut him down instantly. Obviously, no Outlast yet on this Orianna, so you get that 1 kill. And because SK were playing around towers instead of just securing this 4th Dragon, saying, okay, we're just going to wait for it to spawn, then we pick it up, then we look to go further on the map, then ROCCAT gets everything. That was jackpot for them.
Yeah, it really was. All of that CC chained onto Fox. ROCCAT very, very clearly focusing down the main threat in that particular engagement.
They're going to need Flash again, though, on Overpower before they can do it, because otherwise he will never be able to just walk in range. There's no Righteous Glory, there's no Talisman to speed him up. Unless maybe he can go for Home Guards and then try and teleport behind. I would really love to see that when you're playing Twisted Fate, you get Home Guard on your top laner, so you have 2 guys who can engage very, very easily onto the enemy team if SK tries to do what they did before. Because remember, SK has a fairly low range composition when it comes to sieging on a tower, so they will always be caught very close to ROCCAT's turrets and then be in a bad spot for a potential fight to start if we see like a teleport coming in or if we see the Twisted Fate ult.
So interesting to Fisher. You know, after the Baron was secured, I felt SK might want to siege. You kind of highlighted their focus was going to be Dragon, and it was sieging that cost SK. They grouped in a lane, and it was the engage from behind with Nukeduck that allowed ROCCAT to clean up the fight. And if you go a few minutes earlier in the jungle, it was Overpower teleporting behind SK that allowed ROCCAT to win another fight. So for ROCCAT, it is a flanking maneuver. It is a, you know, multi-directional threat that they need to look to do, and we'll see whether or not they can find more opportunities, or if SK is going to be wiser. I mean, SK still got a 4K gold lead, so
yeah, they're still
in
ahead.
charge.
They got a 3 Dragons, but the flanking here is another reason why Nami, as a support, has kind of fallen out of favor, because there's so many options now with these like teleport Home Guards, or junglers like Rengar maybe who can sneak in from the side and then jump you, where Nami's ulti is fairly hard to place properly to stop and engage. If we have the team engaging from 2 sides, Nami can only disengage on one of the sides. He has to pick, okay, do I want to try and shut down maybe the Twisted Fate coming in here with his ulti, or do I want to go for this Maokai who's teleporting from the other side? Because again, her tidal wave, it doesn't cover like a monsoon all the way around you. So it's tough for her to find the right angle to disengage for her team. And that's really something ROCCAT can use to get onto the Orianna, get to the Graves in this backline here and just blow them up. Outlast is completed now though, so it will be a bit tougher this time around.
We'll see whether or not Fox can find those targets. Shockwaves, maybe even more impactful than Twisted Fate's Destinies in team fights. Because we've seen what a 3000 elo Shockwave looks like, and we've seen what a 30 elo Shockwave looks like. And it really can be such a game breaker for your whole team fight. And look at the rest of the damage from SK. Yes, there is AoE from Graves. It's mostly single target. Anyways, we'll get to that in a moment or two. Baron spawning in 30 seconds. SK had set up some vision in the pit. ROCCAT doing the best they can to clear it out. No upgraded trinkets with the exception of Vanda on ROCCAT's side, but on SK, Freddy has got himself that greater stealth totem.
Again, he learned last week that
works
it's pretty gold efficient. So go for it. Opal should do the same on his side. Then you run double sidestone, 3 sweepers, and you have so many wards at your disposal basically to, whenever you want to contest any kind of objective, you can completely ward up around it. Like SK can set up now. They're starting it. The wards have shown this Baron is being started. Twisted Fate coming in as well, and teleport. We're going to get a fight.
Well, let's see whether ROCCAT can make it work. Destiny's revealing. Spenskeren is spotted. They've turned their attention to Gnar. Freddy's caught out. Death sentence lands. Jankos forces Sven away, and they're going to focus Freddy down before he can go Mega Gnar. Numbers advantage for ROCCAT, but they expended a lot. The shockwave whiffs!
30
it doesn't
elo.
hit anybody! That's a 30 elo shockwave for sure! Svenskeren and the rest of SK trying to get away. The Flay doesn't connect. This is turning into a comedy of errors. There's not a lot of abilities are catching, but ROCCAT have found the second kill. They're continuing to chase. Bubble throws up Woolite and Overpower. Nukeduck throws up the wild cards, and that makes him ready to go wild. Flash forward, the Tempest, the Cripple, the wild cards, another kill. Sonic Wave into Resonating Strike, and Jankos secures kill number 4. ROCCAT have clawed back the 6,000 gold deficit and are looking at Baron.
And that was such a smart decision by ROCCAT. They were looking once the teleport came in and Nukeduck could pop his ult. They were saying, like, where are we going to go? Oh, there's a Gnar right now who's not even close to getting Mega Gnar. We can engage on him. He's fairly squishy at this point before he gets it. I know he's full tank, but we can take him down beforehand. They kill him. Sadly, though, Forgiven is not going to let you just take a Baron for free. He will get an inhibitor for it.
Overpower's going to look for him. That's not your gate, Forgiven, but you can dash through it if you like. Flashes over the wall. Overpower's chasing. There's a lot of armor and hit points.
Ranged.
Destiny's quickly becoming available for Nukeduck, but I think the movement speed of Forgiven and the support of Svenskeren will allow him to get out. Let's see if Nukeduck wants to go. Destiny thrown out. They're going for this one, Deficio. Gold card connects. Wild cards do not. Overpower jumps onto Sven. There's a teleport from Freddy. Over-aggressive play from ROCCAT. Will it work? The death sentence hits. Vanders held Svenskeren in place, and Overpower is tanking up SK Gaming. Sven's managed to flash away from the backline as Overpower gets cold. The flash, the Overpower does get killed. Woolite gets killed. There's too much happening to Fisher, and Svenskeren, he's stealthed up.
Showing himself. There we go.
He will get caught out. It's not done yet. Wow, SK are now chasing ROCCAT. They're in trouble. They've got no inhibitor. There's minions in them pushing down towards the base. Fox forced to Hourglass out. How far can SK go? They don't have Forgiven with them. Freddy's going to carry on the chase. I look forward to hearing how you break this one down to Fisher. But Freddy's going to carry on. Let's see. Boomerang slows Jankos out, but he's going to ward hop over to the red buff. Mega Gnar throws the boulder. Jankos, Sonic Wave.
Just take the dragon, Freddy.
Are we going to crunch over? Freddy's just going to throw the rock, and SK grab dragon number 4. So, I got confused and tongue-tied. Do explain exactly what transpired in the last 2 minutes.
Well,
my good man.
Once we get the replay at least. One thing I did notice was Woolite, he's a man who likes to jump in for the kills. As the AD carry, ended up killing himself. And once we get the replay, we can see that was the main reason ROCCAT lost the fight. They went very aggressive first. Teleport came in from SK as well. A lot of chasing back and forth here. And now, 4th dragon. First kick. So, ulti coming in here. So Nukeduck, he chooses Forgiven, missed the first wildcard, and now they can't really get onto Forgiven after from Overpower, so he chooses Svenskeren. This is fine for now for ROCCAT. As long as they kite back, focus Svenskeren here. Just kill him. You don't have to dive deep, because right now, Overpower is zoning 3 guys on his own. Forgiven is only hitting the tank. Just kill Svenskeren here, and then you can start backing away or looking at what's the next target. Once Overpower dies, though, Woolite thinks that he wins the fight by killing Forgiven. That's not how it works. You still have to deal with this Orianna, and now your AD carry is gone for no reason. If you just focus on the Rengar itself, back the way you would have been 5 versus 4, and would have been a very different fight for ROCCAT. Instead, SK Gaming, especially with an extremely fit mid laner, can play the fight.
Now, props to Enrated landing bubble after bubble as they chase through to punish ROCCAT.
Forgiven was out of mana as well. He wouldn't have been able to chase anything. He would have been forced to basically say, okay, unless you guys are standing right in front of me so I can auto-attack you, that's the only way for me to deal damage. And yet Woolite decides it's better for him to trade one-on-one between him and Forgiven. Definitely disagree on that one.
Well, I think you have to ask questions of Woolite's positioning. We've definitely been saying it over the last few weeks. He got the kill.
Decision-making in this case.
He got his man.
He did. This one was more decision-making. Okay. Saying, okay, I'm going to jump in. 1 versus 4. I don't care. I'm going to kill this guy.
Worth.
Maybe he just want to ruin his KDA. I don't know.
Worth. 3-2-3. Woolite 5-2-9. We're at 35 minutes on the clock. The gold that SK had earned themselves has been once again melted away. ROCCAT are even. They're 3 towers to 5. The only scary thing is the next dragon is dragon number 5 for SK Gaming. And truthfully, SK have had much better control of the pit.
Around the dragon for sure, yeah. But the thing for ROCCAT is, we have seen it a few times already this game. When they're the ones deciding the fight, I mean, that's always the problem about a Rengar. Rengar is great when it comes to creating picks and like setting up kills for your team, but he's horrible if you engage onto Rengar. He doesn't add anything. Or then maybe he can try and jump from the bush and lock down an AD carry, but it's super hard for him to do, and he's still, despite building tanky, a fairly easy target for a late game AD carry to kill. So, what ROCCAT can do is if they're the ones starting it through teleports and the Twisted Fate ulti, they can easily choose the targets. Let's say, oh, is there a Mini-Gnar who's not even close to Mega-Gnar? That could be our target if Freddy's split up from the team. Or can we get onto the back line and then also eliminate what Svensson can do on Rengar by simply starting the fight yourself? So ROCCAT definitely has the tools to keep winning.
Yeah, it's something, we haven't really touched on too extensively. It's just how Nukeduck's Ultimate Destiny will reveal Svenskeren when he goes for Throw the Hunt. He's going to reveal Stealth Champion. So yesterday, we saw SK play around pink wards to effectively counter over Reignover's Rengar. Today, ROCCAT have the tools to counter Svenskeren, but it's been more ROCCAT's aggressive plays to claw back what SK has done. And SK, I think they've lost their momentum. With the exception of Control of Dragon, SK are not necessarily as in control as they were during the laning phase, during the first 10-15 minutes.
Well, we normally don't see SK go to late game. It's all about winning in mid game for them through lane pushes and not straight up team fights. But we'll have to in this game, and we mentioned how Twisted Fate ulti can spot the Rengar. The counter, it's called Banshee's Veil. It's now been picked up by Svenskeren. It will basically block the ulti from Twisted Fate so you don't get vision on Rengar himself. Then pop the Banshees. So that is going to be the answer for Svenskeren if he's the guy looking to start the fight. But he can still get collapsed on fairly easily. You just jump down as a TF, and if you do have to time your wildcard first, pops the Banshee, then you throw your stun after.
Well, look at that goal graph. SK managing to climb themselves in the lead ever so slightly, and then lose it, and then ever so slightly lose it. As it stands, there's only an 800 difference. So ROCCAT, this is ROCCAT from the beginning of the split, where they would dig deep, where they would drag games out. And interestingly, if ROCCAT managed to secure 22 kills, it'll actually be the most kills they've secured in a single game for the entire year.
Says a lot about the ROCCAT playstyle we've seen this year. And I mean, it's no secret for the ROCCAT players either when you talk to them and like their opinions of what's been going on. They're not happy. They expected a lot more when this team was created, and when Overpower moved to the top lane, they thought it was going to be a great move. He could be good in terms of team teleports, and of course his shot calling or added shot calling to the team. And then you put in there's basically the rookie of the split in Woolite, an AD carry with good mechanics who looked fairly solid on the Copenhagen walls. And then Nukeduck, this guy who was fantastic when he played for Limlox back in Season 3. So on paper it looked good, but it's simply not been working for them. There's been too many problems in terms of honestly shot calling and players underperforming. From the mid laner to the AD carry to the top laner, it doesn't matter. They have been underperforming overall if you look at the entire split.
And you look at a team like SK, the odd games where Forgiven doesn't necessarily deliver, Fox has picked up the slack. Svenskeren has picked up the slack. You know, SK is a contrast where when a team does have some struggles, somebody else will carry it. Unfortunately for ROCCAT, they haven't found that synergy, but this might be the week. Remember, ROCCAT sitting out of a playoff spot. They're 5-8 in this game, and they're playing against the league leaders, SK. Overpower gets caught out, but the Lantern does save him. Collateral damage was thrown out from Forgiven, so cooldown used. ROCCAT now need to decide, do they want to engage? Dragon is up. This is for aspect of the Dragon. Destiny has been channeled from Nukeduck. He's trying to get in on the side lane, but he's a little split up. Where can Overpower join the party? The ward comes out. Dragon secured. That's gone to Svenskeren. SK Gaming have got the aspect. Overpower once again in the thick of things. Jankos pulling a few members. It's only the tree that's caught by the shockwave, and ROCCAT are in full retreat. They do not want this engage. Death Sentence catches Freddy, but that's not the one you're looking for. Woolite and Nukeduck in full retreat, but it's not going to be enough. Wildcards rings across SK's health bars. 2 members of ROCCAT are down. And honestly, fairly anticlimactic fight with SK getting 2 kills. The 5th Dragon, and most likely the Baron.
It almost felt like ROCCAT was surprised Dragon was spawning because they didn't move for it before and didn't try and fight over the walls being placed. So SK Gaming was standing there as 5, took down the Dragon before the fight even broke out. And that was, again, simply SK being faster than ROCCAT, and then when you see the Twisted Fate not getting a proper ulti for Nukeduck's side, so he doesn't get to the back line. We saw the overpowered teleport as well. He didn't get to the back line either with that. So because it almost felt like you were surprised Dragon were coming up, you couldn't set up proper control around it and get the right engage. And that just put you in a terrible teamfight situation where you had to now hit on a Mega Gnar and, of course, the Rengar, who, when they get to be the front line, can't do enough to protect Orianna and Graves.
And I want to call back to what you mentioned with the previous dragons SK had secured. They were always going to take down minions and monsters faster. They have shown very clearly their objective was focused around the dragon. Now let's see what can happen. Here comes Nukeduck. They caught Foxen and Rated out of position. And Rated does manage to get the bubble, but Freddy is a massive, massive Gnar. He jumped into the fight. Fox is the first one down. Woolite trying to lifesteal off the minions. Nukeduck forced away. Tidal Wave, we'll see if that can connect. Vander's been dropped by Forgiven in the mid lane. Let's see exactly how that transpired, but the bubble works.
Support 101.
And Rated manages to finish Nukeduck. Overpower gets shut down. 3 members of ROCCAT down. SK in a 4-on-2. They're looking to close the game out. Baron empowered minions, Aspect empowered champions. They're on the Nexus turrets, and this is for game.
I really like this support 101 from Rated here against Nukeduck. And wow, another one for Forgiven.
Another kill on the board. 6, 2, and 5. Forgiven sold his boots. He picked up the Zephyr as his final item. Going to use all that attack speed to melt the Nexus turrets. SK Gaming, 11-3. Take down ROCCAT. Retain control of the European LCS.
I think that was a harder game for SK than they would have expected beforehand. They had a great start. The lane swap went in their favor. They got these early towers down. And ROCCAT still managed to find ways of getting back in the game. They always try to keep it even in gold. We had some fairly good team fights here. But the Dragons, the first one picked up at 7 minutes. SK is the team in Europe who gets the fastest first Dragon. This game, or in this game
even
was the same.
faster today.
Yeah,
this
even
week.
faster than their normal average. And that was really the key for them. Always just wait for these Dragons to spawn, play around them. And then the last one, still surprised that ROCCAT were not in a better position to fight for it.
Yeah, I think if you look at all the teams in Europe, SK have got the strongest Dragon
Them and H2K.
decision making.
Them and H2K. When it comes to playing around Dragons.
In the last few weeks, I'd agree with H2K, but you know, over the entire split,
Right.
SK play very safely. When Dragons aren't available, they win through other means. But this is the third game that I can think of where SK have actually gone for the 5 Dragon to use it to allow them to take down the Nexus. And I think ROCCAT this week have performed better than they have every other match leading up to week 7.
I agree. It's looking better for ROCCAT compared to what we've seen in the past, but a game like this now for them, you were about to take out SK Gaming, and the reason that was going to be so important is because you're fighting against Elements, Unicorns of Love, and the likes of Giants,